All right, what do we have here? Here it is. This is the Schrodingers Razzacat deck. And what are we doing with this? Well, we're going to show you what we do with it. And this is a deck I'm most proud of because the way it wins, rarely in high powered Commander and EDH do you get to have kind of like a little joke to go along with your deck. And you can have like a gimmick, but it's going to hurt it. Whereas this, the gimmick is the deck. And the whole point of this thing, this is literally a deck where I don't see much advantage to playing a Jeweled Lotus because we actually have like a play set of our commander in here. So as I said, I have a Zulaport Cutthroat I want to put in here, and I don't have it in right now because I just haven't decided what I want to cut. But something is going to be cut for Zulaport. But our commander, Elas Ilkor, Sadistic Pilgrim. Oh, and we got a jumper. We got a jumper. That Viscerous here is like, I want out of this deck, man. It's bad. So we got Elas Ilkor, we got the Etch Showcase, and we got the version I prefer, really. But it's nice to have these two, and this being such a budget-friendly card, both in casting cost and in cost, I figure, hey, I'm going to do like a double-sided thing here. So what does Elas Ilkor do? Death Touch. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain a life. That's fine. Whenever another creature you control dies, each opponent loses one life. So what we have here is a Blood Artist in the command zone. Do we have a Blood Artist in the 99? Of course, because we have play sets of our commander. This is so, ugh. After playing this weekend, I thought this deck would not do as good as it did. I was really impressed with it. I had a lot of fun with it. I lost a few, but I won more than I lost, and it was so fun. This is such a subversive deck, and it was fun to see people's reaction to these cards and like, okay, like, what is this? It was very interesting. So we'll get into the creature base. And this is just a total enter the battlefield, leave the battlefield, group hug kind of thing, as it were, where we give a nice little damage around the table. And with a silence effect, it's got some stacks pieces. We'll just get right into it. So we'll look at our black creatures first. We have Viscerous here. It's a great sack outlet. Sacrifice a creature, scry 1. Very good for us. So that 1-drop, 1/1. We have Thieves Guild Enforcer. This is one of our game pieces here. So for 1 black, we can flash this in. Very important when we're bouncing a certain someone in and out of the battlefield. Whenever Thieves Guild Enforcer or another rogue enters the battlefield into your control, each opponent mills 2 cards. As long as an opponent has 8 or more cards in their graveyard, Thieves Guild Enforcer gets +2/+1 and has Death Touch. We have Carrion Feeder, another wonderful sacrifice outlet. And look at that. Very H.P. Lovecraft, which I recently found out H.P. Lovecraft was like a virulently horrible racist person. And not even for the time he lived in, because I used to enjoy his writing. But man, I read some of the stuff you didn't know of his, and I'm like, this is a thing that is absolutely awful. So yeah, H.P. Lovecraft, big disappointment there, because as a young guy, young kid really, like in middle school, I read his spook stories and loved them. But now as an adult, like when you look into that guy, it's like, ugh, he was definitely a weird guy. So whenever Blood Artist or another creature dies, target player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. This is great. This is our commander in essence, except it doesn't require a prerequisite of a white and a black. So we have Dautai Voidwalker, of course, because we're running black. We need this, right? So Shadow, if a card would be put into an opponent's graveyard from anywhere, instead exile it with a void counter on it. We can tap and sacrifice Dautai Voidwalker, choose an exiled card an opponent owns with a void counter on it. You may play it this turn without paying its mana cost. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. For other people that we're playing against that are trying to do things similar to us. So that's one of those things too. That's going to be a must remove. That's definitely something that will soak up some removal from someone if that's on the board. We have Opposition Agent here. This is the upgraded Aven Mind Sensor, right, in black. So 2 and a black. Flash. You control your opponent while they're searching the library. While an opponent is searching their library, they exile each card they find. You may play those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast them. Very rude. There we have Mr. Razakath, the last of the demons to remain in the deck from the old Kalia. Of the four, Razaketh is the only one. In Flying Trample, pay 2 life, sacrifice another creature, search your library for a card and put that card into your hand, then shuffle your library. So it's a wonderful demonic tutor there, right? A demon tutor. So there's our black creature base. We have Corpse Knight with our Orzhov color base. We have whenever another creature enters the battlefield into your control, each opponent loses a life. So that's what we're going for here. This is the Dead Cat Dance. Schrodinger's cat. The cat is dead in the box. The cat is alive. It's in the graveyard. It's out. The cat is alive and the cat is dead, right? Cruel Celebrant. Whenever Cruel Celebrant or another creature or planeswalker you control dies, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So as you see, we have some commanders in our deck, right? Because that's pretty much the same as what we got going on here. And with Zulaport Cutthroat, that's going to put us over the top there, where we're going to have these recurring themes. So our commander's not the most important person, but if we don't have one of those in our hand, the commander's always in the command zone. So it's literally like having one of these combo pieces that we need always there available in our command zone. We have Lurrus of the Dream Den, Companion. Each permanent card in your starting deck has converted mana cost 2 or less. Lifelink. During each of your turns, you may cast 1 permanent spell with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard. This is very good. This is why I'd like to get some free artifacts to throw in here, some more of them, like a Lotus Petal. Very good here, and 0 costing, cheap costing things to pop back out. This is really cool. And cat, right? So it's funny because it is a cat. We have Giver of Runes here, and I just love these etched foil Modern Horizons and Modern Horizons 2. They look so good to me because they harken back to the old days. Another target creature you control gains protection from colorless or from the color of your choice until end of turn. So we have 1 white, 1, 2. Of course we're going to run that. We have Tireless Tribe to discard creatures from our deck like Razaketh. So if we have Razaketh in our hand and need to get him into the graveyard to, say, pop him back out to begin seeking out what we need, a good way to get him into the graveyard is to discard a card from our hand with Tireless Tribe. We have Esper Sentinel, because of course, needs no introduction. Skrelv Deflector Might. Now this is a wonderful card. This is probably my favorite card to come out in the new last couple sets, to be honest. So it's 1 white, it's a legendary artifact creature. 1 toxic. It can't block. You can pay 2 life, choose a color. Another target creature you control gains toxic 1 and hexproof from that color until end of turn. It can't be blocked by creatures of that color this turn. Very cool. Now here we have Children of Corliss. And I will go ahead and, when I play, I actually keep a card, like a token one, because some people don't prefer that. So at Children of Corliss, sacrifice Children of Corliss, you gain life equal to the life you've lost this turn. So I like this Russian. Whoops, my glare stopper there, I bumped it. Oh, jeez. All right. So, yeah, my Russian one I like because it reminds me of Brothers Karamazov. I just love this artwork in the Russian language. It looks quite nice. Very, very nice looking. But yeah, I always keep that, so I put that over the top of it so nobody has to keep asking or something. Because I definitely feel you if you look at that and you forget it's there, you know. Definitely just something I like, so I'm not trying to take advantage with it or anything, so I always keep that token. That's something you might want to do as well if you keep some alternate language cards. We have Tithe Taker for 1 and a white. It's a human soldier. During your turn, spells your opponent's cast cost 1 more to cast, and abilities your opponent's cast your activate cost 1 more to activate unless they're mana abilities. Afterlife, when this creature dies, create a 1/1 white and black spirit creature token with flying. So very cool there. And we have Draneth here, a wonderful Draneth Magistrate, who this card, people don't like this card, I find. And I do, because it forces removal. Like, this is a good way to see what kind of removal people have in their hands. Because if you play this, it's going to be removed. Like, that's what this is. people think like, oh, your opponents can't cast spells from anywhere other than their hands. You're stopping me from doing my commander. It's like, no, this card doesn't necessarily want to stop that. This card wants to suck up your removal spells. So that's how I use Drannith. Oh, here's the star of the show, one of them. Leo, the Relic Warder. Enters the battlefield, you may exile target artifact or enchantment. When Leonin Relic Warder leaves the battlefield, return the exiled card to the battlefield under its owner's control. So that's a little bit of the crux of how this deck is going to work for us. Part of it is going to be Leonin Relic Warder's effect with cards like Necromancy and Animate Dead, which he can target him and do that dead cat dance. So sacrifice die, sacrifice reborn, death and rebirth, and death and rebirth. And all the while, we have the game pieces that cause things to happen. We have Grand Abolisher to play on our turn, of course. During your turn, your opponents can't cast spells or activate abilities of artifacts, creatures, or enchantments. So this will allow us to peacefully have our dead cat dance, such as like a silence effect on a person. Thalia, Heretic Cathar. First strike. Creatures and non-basic lands your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. 2 and a white. Nothing wrong there. In Recruiter of the Guard, with a card like Ephemerate, you can have some real fun with this. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a creature card with toughness 2 or less. Reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle your library. Very cool right there. And why Recruiter of the Guard instead of Ranger Captain of Eos, you might ask? Simply because this is more versatile. And maybe it's because when I guess being skeptical of like the newer card, I like Ranger Captain of Eos, but this is way more, how would you say, like, we can get what we need with this better and more efficiently, because I believe Ranger Captain of Eos is search your library for a creature card with mana value 1 or less, and we don't want that. Like, we want to get the creatures that we need into our hands to create our Schrodinger's Razacat Dead Cat Dance, right? So look at this. This is nice. These love your LGS. You could cut this from the deck, really. So for 2 and a white, you get the Bird Wizard, Aven Mind Sensor, Flash, Flying. If an opponent would search a library, that player searches the top 4 cards of that library instead. And doesn't that sound familiar to us? Doesn't it? Like, as I said, to improve on this, look at that from Commander Legends. You have this, which is a definite improvement of the Aven Mind Sensor, surely. But all the same, we have Felidar Guardian. When Felidar Guardian enters the battlefield, you may exile another target permanent you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. So we can use this in the same way we use the Dead Cat Dance. We can use this to bring something back, bounce something up and down. So many things. This is so useful in here. So again, these are the Schrodinger's cats here. Gotta love them, right? Anybody's not familiar with the experiment, look it up. No animals were hurt in it. I'd never make a joke of animals being hurt, like in experiments and stuff. Schrodinger's cat was just a hypothetical. I mean, you can say, basically, like what his experiment was is if you put a cat in a box with something that could kill it, and you keep the box closed and you don't know what's inside, is the cat dead? Is it alive? You can't know. There's these many realities exist and probabilities. And his experiment was to try to show like how like out of hand people can get kind of without information in a way. So if you open the box, you can dispel all myths and find out, is the cat dead or is the cat alive? But he never put a cat in a box with like nuclear waste or anything. That never happened. And so it is kind of an interesting concept, though. It's like what we see, like seeing is believing. Now here's that. I've shown this. This is a card I love. This is my my misprint. And that is interesting, isn't it? So that is courtesy of Star City Games. I got a pack from them of what was it? It was Jumpstart. I got a Jumpstart thing, and I got this in that Jumpstart, and man, is that weird, right? So anyways, we'll move along, but Linvala, Keeper of Silence. Activated abilities of creatures your opponents can't be activated. And I didn't see this when I was opening those packs. I kind of just went through this, and then going back through, I noticed, and I'm like, man, I'm glad I looked. This was honestly like one of the coolest pulls I think I've ever had, being like an odd thing to pull. So, anyways, we have World Gorger Dragon. I'm sorry, Abdel Adrian Gorian's Ward. Oh, World Gorger Dragon with a brain. Abdel Adrian Gorian's Ward for 4 and a white. When Abdel Adrian Gorian's Ward enters the battlefield, exile any number of other non-land permanents you control until Abdel Adrian leaves the battlefield. Create a 1/1 white soldier creature token for each permanent exiled this way. Choose a background. Not any backgrounds. No commander. If this was our commander, we'd have real problems, because this guy never needs to be on the battlefield. We really want him in the graveyard to do a World Gorger effect. So this is going to help with our Razakhat combo. This is going to help with getting something in the graveyard, popping it back, bringing it in, enter the battlefield, leave the battlefield. You see where we're going. Razakhat's watching us over here. All right. Anyways, so boop. Let's get into our instance, and we'll shoot right through these. A lot of these don't need explanations or anything. I just like to talk about the creature base a little bit. Have our Vampiric Tutor ritual. Good removal here. Right here we have Culling the Weak, which is played as an interrupt back in the day. Sacrifice a creature, add 4 black mana. And it's 1 black mana. So essentially, sacrifice a creature, get that mana, buddy. We have Cabal Ritual. Deadly Dispute. Now this card is exciting. And I ended up getting a foil because I think this card is going to be just a staple in black. And I have a couple in non-foil too, but I wanted to get one in foil. So I did. And look at that. Look at that little person there. Very, very, very scary, right? All right. Goryo's Vengeance. Now, hasn't this card gone up, man? Wow. I think it's that Splice onto Arcane. I think it's seen a lot of modern play, right? Return target legendary creature card from your graveyard to play. That creature gains haste. Remove it from the game at the end of turn. Splice onto Arcane. We have Dismember for 1 and 2 black Phyrexians. Can be played with either a black or 2 life. Target creature gets -5/-5 until end of turn. Putting those counters on an indestructible creature is money. Alright, Ad Naz. 3 and 2 black. Reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. You lose life equal to its converted mana cost. You may repeat this process any number of times. So, this coupled with some cards in here, we can get that life back and have exactly what we need in our hands. This uses Ad Nauseam in a wonderful way, where it's not using Underworld Breach, which is really, 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 really cool. So it's not running Breach Ad Nauseam Dockside, which, to be honest, like I was sick of that kind of play. That's why I kind of built this, because it's more stacksy. It's a different kind of brooding kind of deck. We have Swords to Plowshares. And my favorite artwork of Swords to Plowshares right there harkens back to my days of being a kid, like opening Magic, because this is when it was like going down the block with Jake and Adam, the older kids, some of them too, whooping us all and using their fast bananas on us. Holy moly, we'd be like, our Goblin decks fell terribly in somebody's calling me, but we'll just let that ring. I think that's my wife to tell me she's on her way home. But we're going to keep going through here. So exile target enchantment, 1 and a white. This is an instant. This is great. We can use this politically too. If there's a troublesome enchantment on the board, we can say, hey, we'll get rid of that. Similarly, Path to Exile. This is one I do not like in Commander, but I definitely like it in here, because we can exile target creature. Its controller may search his or her library for a basic land. Put that card onto the battlefield tapped. We can do this to ourselves if need be. And really, the staxing effects we have in this, it's not the worst thing if we need to get rid of something very problematic. The ways we have of holding things up in this to let us do our thing makes it so this isn't as problematic as like why I wouldn't play it in my bad Kalia. Similarly, we have Enlightened Tutor, a new addition here. One I'd always wanted to play in Bad Kalia, but I felt like, search your library for an artifact or enchantment card, reveal it, then shuffle and put that card on top of it. I definitely like that. We have silence. That's absolutely essential in this, because people, as soon as they know what you're doing, they're going to try to stop it. We have ephemerate. Exile target creature you control, then return it to the battlefield under its owner's control, and then rebound. So this is especially neat for us because we can use this in multiple ways to create different things that are advantageous to us throughout the game. Hey, am I doing a good job being serious, guys? Because I really feel like I am. I'm excited about this deck. I think I'm being real serious. I mean, have I ever been this serious before? I haven't even done any weird things. And isn't that nice? So, ephemerate. We have Angel's Grace. What do we have here? Split second, instant. You can't lose the game this turn, and your opponents can't win the game this turn. Until end of turn, damage that would reduce your life total to less than 1 reduces it to 1 instead. Sticking around one more turn can do a lot for us in decks like this. Mana Tithe as well. Early game, this is great. Late game, anytime where you see somebody tapped out and they're doing something bad and naughty, play this. Hey, not so fast, buddy. Got one more to tap? Didn't think so. This one too. This is one, man, the casting cost. But in a faster deck, which this deck can be very fast, certainly. But in a faster deck, I would not play this. But destroy target permanent. Its controller creates a 3/3 green elephant creature token. So that is fine. The casting cost, for political reasons, we could use this. That target permanent, we can really destroy something that can really hem up our opponent. And here we have Reanimate. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. You lose life equal to its mana value. So this is a great way to get our big demon back onto the battlefield, to utilize it to get our game piece, our winning piece that we're going to need. And it's not the most important thing because we have the recurring effects of different pieces and creatures. Similarly, like return target creature card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Just something to pull something back. So we don't have to be afraid if we have this in hand or reanimate. Like if we need to do something and sacrifice something that we may need for our win condition to set up for like a next turn win, if we have something like this in our hand, we need not fear, because we can play that thing again. Our only danger, our weakness is graveyard hatred. And I did know that when we would lose, it would be like something would happen bad in the graveyard. Like, for example, it went around, somebody said, I'm going to whack his, Grand Abolisher. We have Scheming Symmetry. This is a wonderful, underplayed card, in my opinion. I know you don't want to let your opponent search, but again, in this deck, it is worthwhile. Especially when you can flash in something like the Opposition Agent or the Aven Mind Sensor. Very, very comical then. So, Stir the Grave. X in a black. Return target creature card with converted mana cost X or less from the graveyard to play. Again, this, we have a tutor. We're going to be wanting to tutor things. So, are we into sorceries? Oh, yep, getting into sorceries. We got into sorceries a while ago. Okay. I meant to put artifacts in the middle to kind of break that up, but I believe almost all the sorceries in here are black. As an additional cost to cast this spell, sacrifice a creature. Wonderful card, a much-needed reprint that was just great, because I had a real old nasty one, and I ended up giving it to a buddy. So, good, I got this one and another one, and passed the old one along. So, Demonic Tutor. That's one of my favorite tutors. I'll teach you to be evil. We have, oh damn. This one, destroy a creature, overload cost, destroy each creature. We're not going to have creature heavy boards necessarily. So if people start doing things, this is good to have in hand. Unmarked Grave, another tutor that's very specific to what we're doing. Search your library for a non-legendary card, put that card into your graveyard, then shuffle. Again, this is risky, so have some insurance when you play this. Like, I wouldn't play this, like, say, like, turn 2 and get something that you need in the graveyard, because everybody at the table is going to see that you've put something in the graveyard and it seems odd. Like, if you search out Abdel Adrian Gorian's Ward, people are going to know what you're going to do, because it's no secret what that is anymore. It's a World Gorger with a brain. Grim Tutor. Search your library for a card, put that card into your hand, shuffle your library, you lose 3 life. Again, not one I'd recommend necessarily in a faster deck, but in this one, just like with Praetor's Grasp, we can pull a win condition from our Tymna Thrasios decks. That's a very powerful thing. Like, this has saved my life by actually, like, against those like Tymna Thrasios combo decks. If you can get this out early and like play it right at a time when, you know, even I've played Silence just to play this, to like get a win condition out of a deck. So to show you how important this is to me, I would recommend, if you're running black, run this. And I'm pretty sure most people that are dedicated black in Commander do. But this has won me games by, unfortunately, like a dirty way of kind of like wrecking somebody's day. To say that, I've had my day wrecked too. This is an odd tutor, certainly. Search your library for a card with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of lands you control. Reveal it and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. So this isn't so bad. We'll definitely have 3 black we can pay. Buried Alive. Search your library for up to 3 creature cards, put them into your graveyard, shuffle your library afterwards. This is something, again, like, we're definitely not going to want to put like our cats and our man, Abdel Adrian, all together in the graveyard. So you're not going to want to do that, because then you have all the things you may need. Like, I've had Leo exiled, right? But then I was able to win another route. So you don't want to seek out the cards you're all going to need, you know, all those cats and Abdel Adrian to like set your graveyard up, unless you're got a ton of mana. And like right here, this card is one like I honestly feel sometimes I could take out. Peer into the Abyss. Target player draws cards equal to half the number of cards in their library and loses half their life, rounded up each time. So this is good for us. This is kind of like Vilis Broker of Blood. But we didn't want another big demon. As hard as it was to pull Vilis from when I restructured this deck from Bad Kalia, Peer into the Abyss, I was like, you know what? We can do this, because with certain prerequisites, we can be playing this like turn 4, and then that is really good for us. Turn 4 is easy. I'm pretty sure we can get the mana up and do it turn 3 as well, even better. So this is something that, yeah, it's staying in the deck for now, but this deck may change. I mean, Selvala changed a lot, and she's my winning deck. Selvala is, if I was playing for money, not funsies, if I was playing for respect or anything, like, I would use Selvala, because it is just a beat stick. Add 2 colorless mana. We're into the lands here. So we'll go through these lands quickly. I'm pretty sure I got 28 lands in here. Where's these, I was about to say. Where are those? There we go. Oopsie daisy. I was thinking that was a little light. There we are. We'll go through these enchantments, because these are very important to us. I felt those lands felt heavy. Alright, anyways, Animate Dead. That's part of the Dead Cat Dance. This is Animate Dead, but one more. So that's going to give us a recurring theme that we will need. So those would be what we're going to be seeking out with our tutor that will allow us to get enchantments. That's what we'll be going after. We have Necropotence. That'd be something very desirable for us. I'm not going to discuss Necropotence too much, because I have videos just about it. Ossification. Now this is a new card I will discuss. Enchant basic land you control. When Ossification enters the battlefield, exile target creature, planeswalker, and opponent controls. This is good. This is very much a nuisance card. Similarly to this, you can use this to enchant commanders or win con creatures. So that is very important for us. We have Blind Obedience. Has that extort cost, and artifacts and creatures your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped. Mishra's Bauble, of course, because we have ways to recur this. And that is just wonderful to peek around and get that card draw. Chrome Mox, it's a 0 artifact. We can imprint something on it. Perfect for what we're doing. Skull Clamp, because yeah, we'll be using this. This will be put to work, right? We have Soul Ring. Obvious. Talisman of Hierarchy. Fellware Stone. Arcane Signet. We have Wishclaw Talisman, of course. And now is our lands. So we'll go through these quickly. Marsh Flats, Ancient Tomb, Command Tower, Gemstone Mine, Caves of Kolios, Godless Shrine, Tainted Field, Iso Chapo, Silent Clearing, Shattered Sanctum, Vault of Champions, and a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, 7, 8 planes, and a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, a 6, 7, 8, a 9, a Swampos. So there it is, guys. You could probably make this a lot cheaper than I did because I'm using my little boutique lands and some different versions of stuff, but I would really encourage you. I'm going to leave the link from Mox Field. This deck is going to go public today, so anybody can look at it. Go ahead and play it, leave suggestions, make fun of it, make fun of me. It's all good because aren't we just having fun, right? And yeah, I will do like a deck tech video. We'll do some discussing of this, and I'll talk to you about my weekend exploits with it and how much fun I had. Man. All right, anyways.